Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome back to episode 3 of ARMANOGEDDON. Big news, real big news today. Not only did we increase our amount of views from episode 1 to episode 2, but we also broke 100 views on both of those videos in under 24 hours. This is a small feat, but nonetheless worth celebrating. Today's going to be an ambitious episode, and then we're going to have some more dynamic visuals on screen. I encourage people to listen along, but to watch as well. Now, currently, I'm stationed here in Long Island, and I'm swinging to the sweet songs of PTO. Once more, we were filming earlier in the day, and I've already had about 2-3 cups of coffee, and each one was blacker than the ace of spades. Now, currently, the weather is dreary, dismal, and it has started to snow. Now, this is the first time I've seen snow in a few years, and because of that, I'm going to teach you a nice, warming bolognese recipe with a little heat to it. It will be about halfway towards a Fra Diavolo sauce. Now, currently displayed on screen, you will see all the ingredients that you need. They are tomatoes or canned tomatoes, tomato paste. Now, I use this to help keep a consistent texture throughout the sauce. Garlic, salt, pepper, red pepper, basil, sugar, and ground beef, as well as our pasta, of course. Now, normally I would use onions as well, and I recommend to do so. However, I don't have any at the moment, and due to the inclement weather, I do not feel like leaving the house. Now, to start, cut your garlic and saute it. Now, once brown, add your tomatoes to this puree. Then add some water. I usually fill the tomato container with water and add that to the pot. Now, we're going to let that begin to cook and mash up our tomatoes in there. I don't like a chunky sauce. Remember, folks, we are making a sauce, not a salsa. Now, add some sugar, and I would be liberal in this, as you want the sauce to be very sweet, or at least I prefer it to be. You could also add some basil and some red pepper. Now, since there is a chill in the air, I'm going to be generous with the red pepper and really throw some in there. Now, we're going to take our ground beef, and we're going to brown it slightly. Once it is nicely coated, we're going to pour all of that with the oil and the grease into the sauce and let that cook for about 20 minutes at a nice medium rolling boil. Now, as the sauce cooks, we like to get our pasta boiling on there to save time. And if you really want to get some extra flavor in the sauce, I recommend playing some Grateful Dead jam tracks in the background as it cooks. Now, on screen right here, you'll see the final product, and I recommend that you try it out today and enjoy it. We're going to continue on a serious note with today's episode, and as a reminder to get moving. In preparation for any gluttonous honey-baked ham that you may have on Christmas, get some brief exercise in. And if any of you ladies are also looking for some glazed meats, know that I'm free most evenings. Oh! Today, I went for a nice casual run, and I encourage my listeners to do the same. Or something else. Walk your dog, stretch, lift, get into a fist fight, or bang somebody. But just get moving. Now, let's continue to be wholesome and move into the intellectual lane for a moment. Today's word of the day, according to Merriam-Webster-Dictionary.com, is beatific. Now, this is exciting because this is the first time I've heard of this word. Beatific is a formal word that describes something to someone having a blissful appearance or showing complete happiness. Now, the supplemental sentence that it offers is, as the pair danced, beatific smiles on their faces, the audience sat hushed and almost reverential. Very nice right there. Now, be sure to try and use this word in your daily routine, and we're going to try and insert it once more time by the end of this podcast. Right now, I'm going to provide my own supplemental sentence for beatific and say that after trying out my pasta sauce, you'll have a beatific smile as well. Now, continuing on with words, I want to act as an etymologist for a moment and discuss the origins of the word ARMANOGEDDON. ARMANOGEDDON comes from the Latin prefix root from the origin of Armano. Now, if we translate and look up the meaning of this, it actually translates to total fucking brick shithouse in any domain ventured. Now, Armageddon comes from the Hebrew word Ar-Megiddo. Har, meaning hill or mountain, and Megiddo, the ancient city in northern Israel where the biblical book of Revelations and the final battle between good and evil takes place before Judgment Day. Now, this city is also the site of a famous battle in World War I where the Germans and Ottomans found themselves surrounded by French and British troops in September of 1918. So now we come to learn the meaning of Armanogeddon. That is, in any battle, Armano conquers and climbs that metaphorical hill, going the distance. Let it be known that although my personality tends to be a natural devil's advocate, when it comes down to a Wild West showdown, you will certainly catch me donning the white cowboy hat. Now, turning to more contemporary topics, it is December 20th, and we are approaching the ripest part of the holiday season. In 5 days, we have Jesus' birthday. Now, I want to talk about birthdays in general for a moment. Have you ever noticed that people get overly excited when their birthday is vaguely near one another? I think this is more of a female phenomenon. But for example, when I was in college, the first day would often start with basic icebreaker conversations in which people would go around sharing their birthday. And for example, people would say, hey, well, my birthday is on November 10th. And then someone else would go, oh my God, no way. My birthday is November 14th. This is not interesting, and who cares? It is not the same day, and there is nothing interesting about your birthday unless it lands on the exact same day. There is nothing statistically significant in this, and there's only 365 days a year. Who gives a shit? Now, this is like placing money directly on number 15 when playing roulette and getting all excited when the number hits as 22. What are you, an idiot? Control yourself and exercise some stoicism. Now, returning to the holidays, now is the time of year for Christmas lights. Christmas provides a much higher level of satisfaction, or Christmas lights, when the weather is frigid as compared to in Miami when the weather is 70 degrees. One thing I want to address is if you were going to put up a haphazard display or lackadaisical Christmas lights, then don't put up any at all. What I'm referring to specifically is Christmas laser lights. These are tacky and hacky decorations. So if you just have Christmas lasers and you're not using them as an ancillary support to the rest of your Christmas lights, here's what I suggest you do. I suggest you drive to CVS or whatever local store, buy a cheap string of lights, go home, get a step stool out, use that cheap string of lights to hang yourself because those decorations suck. All right. Around this time, we're going to be wrapping up today's cast, but before we end, I just want to say what I'm reading right now. I'm currently about halfway through Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover to learn some tangible financial skills. I recommend anyone that is listening to take a read. I'm about halfway through it, and it is pretty interesting as well. Upcoming, still be on the lookout for our Spanish podcast coming eventually. I sort of want to develop a routine before we switch to anything else. However, you can also expect some songs eventually coming to the podcast. It is just that I currently don't have an acoustic guitar at the moment, and I think to distort well on the laptop. All right, and on a final note, a fun game to play with some friends is the fictional character draft. Now, you want to be drafting people for track and field events, intellectual games, as well as aquatic events to go along with it. Now, you want to make sure you are also drafting for power, and you're going to need to draft a coach as well. Now, the only limitations are no drafting of superheroes, and in addition, no drafting of any mythical gods as well. So I just want to go over a few sleeper picks that happened last night, with Big Show coming in at the first round. Shrek is getting a good round 2 pick as well. Then we have Roadrunner, which is going to be great for the 100-meter dash. In addition, we have Bud Knight. But I think the best sleeper pick was done by myself for a captain of the team, and that's going to be Teddy Roosevelt from Night at the Museum. Will be leading our troops in our track and field day event. All right. Now, that's just a few picks. Thank you for joining us on episode 3 of ARMANOGEDDON, and I hope to see you in a few days.